Welcome back to the Pursuit of Accuracy. I'm Josh, and today we're going to be talking about CZ457s. Now, in the world of CZ457s, there are guys shooting bone stock MTRs that would come in this configuration with the action and a factory barrel, all the way up to fully custom rifles like you see in front of me. And yes, this is still a CZ457, although it has basically been completely swapped out except for the action. Now, I get an absolutely insane amount of questions about 457s, about upgrading them, barrels, the biggest bang for the buck, how people should go about upgrading them, what should they do first. I get questions like, what is this cheek riser? And we're gonna go over all that today. So I got some new ammo. We're gonna shoot the CZ457, probably gonna play at 100, 150 yards, just so that this isn't super boring. But I'm gonna go through all the upgrades. I've been on this platform for 4 years. I basically tried it all. All right, so like I said, we're trying out some new ammunition. I'm gonna be bringing you guys along for the ride here with the old trigger cam here. We're gonna start at 100 yards. First, we're just gonna lay down a group. We're gonna see where we're at. But the first thing I probably wanna talk about is, performance related upgrades. That's what a lot of people are worried about, just raw accuracy. And to be completely honest with you, the best bang for the buck is a barrel. Now, CZ457s, they come with some very good shooting production factory barrels, but you're going to be playing the lottery a little bit. So that's to say that you could have a factory MTR barrel that is really, really good, and you could have one that's just okay. So if you're watching this video, then I can assume that you're not here for okay. You're looking for a really, really good barrel. So a barrel upgrade is going to be your biggest net gain in accuracy. So there are other little things that we're going to talk about that can contribute to that, but overall the barrel is going to be your #1 gain. So that's where you're going to want to spend your money if you're looking to get something accurate. So let's go ahead here with our cold bore. We're just going to shoot our cold bore on this guy, anticipating it's a couple tenths high. Okay, so we're a hair low there, but we're gonna come up a click. We're gonna shoot a group, see where we're at. I'm gonna aim at the top of that blade of grass. Okay, we're a little left. Or a bunch left, actually. Okay, we're gonna go ahead and dial in this correction. Let's see, we're at this. Oh. All right. We're a hair right, but that's okay. Should be good enough. Now, the amount of other contributing factors is gonna be where you're starting. If you have something like this, the MTR, this is a very solid platform to start with. And upgrading to something like a chassis, it's not really going to gain you accuracy. Now we'll come back to chassis because that's more of a shootability upgrade. And it's not really, for me, if you're starting with something decent like the MTR, that's not gonna be a huge accuracy upgrade. You're not gonna go from the MTR stock where you played with the torque and got that right to a chassis and all of a sudden discover that you found a whole bunch of new accuracy you never had before. It's just probably not going to be how that works. Let's go and run this now that we're close. Let's try, see what we can see out there. But another very popular upgrade after a barrel I think a lot of guys go to is a trigger. Now there are several options for triggers. You have the factory trigger, which is not bad. That is not going to be hurting your performance as far as, like accuracy wise. I found the factory triggers to be very consistent and very good. So you can go and spend under, like, maybe it's like 20 bucks and get the Yo-Dave, and which is just a spring kit, and that is going to be the best bang for your buck. Obviously here I'm using the Timney trigger, and then there's also the Jarred. So off the right, those options are going to be pretty much determined by what you want to shoot. We're going up to quarter now. Yeah, 1/4 inch at 100 yards. And what I mean by that is, in this one is a Timney, but this is set up for PRS. It's a very light single stage, very crisp braking trigger, but it's not as light as it could be. If I were going to be running a bench gun, you could go with something like the Jard and get this down into the very low ounces. Now, the Jard for me is not the PRS trigger I would run. I prefer something around 7-8 ounces, something flat shoot like this, something that has very, very clean braking. And don't get me wrong, the Jard brakes very clean, but to me, it's much more a bench rest trigger. But again, that's an upgrade where I don't think you're really going to get accuracy, but you're going to increase shootability. And that's going to depend, like I said, on what you're doing. So my recommendation, if you shoot from the bench a lot like this, go ahead and get the Jard. If you're looking for the lightest weight trigger, so, you know, practicing bench rest style shooting, that's going to be a great trigger for you. If you're getting this out on props, running PRS or NRL style stuff, then I would probably go with the Timney. So I've shot a single bullet mark on the top of this plate. We're just going to shoot a group and see how it's performing with ammunition, but we're also going to talk about other performance upgrades. Now, a very popular one is going to be the firing pin. Now, I have seen slight increases in improvement and consistency as far as ignition is concerned, and how you would test that, see that, is on a chronograph. So again, it's not going to be huge upgrades if you're looking for something that's going to change. We had one not come out here. If you're looking at something that's going to change how your, you know, overall rifle is shooting, you know, that's probably not going to do it. But if you're shooting long range, you're getting really serious, you're looking for every little thing, then a firing pin, like a modified firing pin, that may help you out a little bit. Now, some upgrades that I've seen guys do that I think probably, you know, are things you could skip depending on what you shoot would be things like Magwells. Obviously, you can't see this one. I run pretty much all DIP Magwells on my rifles. They are 100% not necessary. You do not need them. I run them because I'm shooting PRS and NRL, and a lot of times you end up with a bag loading into the magazine, and I'm running these L3I mags that are metal. So what happens with a plastic magwell that's in these is it will eventually crack and break and fail. If you're shooting off the bench, there's probably no reason to upgrade your magwell if it's not an issue. Like, you're probably not gonna gain anything. I only ever upgraded because I was breaking my plastic ones while I was shooting PRS. If I'm shooting off the bench, I don't think that's probably anything that you actually need to worry about. But it is something, you know, if you're just looking at, some people just like modifying stuff. If you're just looking to do that, then the DIP ones have been really good for me. That freaking 1/4 inch. A little right to left now, favor. Oh, and it went exactly where we held. 1/4. Tell you what, this ammo is shooting pretty dang good. It is literally just tearing up that 1/4 inch. At 100 yards. That's a 1/4 inch piece of steel at 100 yards. So we've talked about the barrel, we've talked about the trigger, talked about little things like the magwell. Some other popular upgrades are converting from the dovetail that's on top of this receiver. I have pretty much always used the Area 419 scope base. It has a built-in level back here. I don't really care about that. I've just never had them move. They've never failed on me. You can get them in different MOAs. So if you're going to shoot like PRS, you probably want to look at the 20 to 30 MOA. If you're going to shoot a bench gun, probably best advice I can give you is get a 0 MOA, because a lot of bench gun setups are going to use a more traditional MOA scope with like probably 1/4 or even 1/8 inch MOA, and they don't have a ton. These scopes are not built to shoot long range, so they don't have a ton of elevation. So if you put a 20 or 30 MOA cant scope base for that particular setup, you may not be able to dial to get to where you need to be. So I would stick with 0 if you're shooting PRS, NRL. Then feel free to go 20, 30. That's overall going to be dictated by the total elevation travel of your scope. So if you're building a rifle and you're unsure what scope like cant to get, look at the scope you have or the scope you're planning on getting, and let's say it has 100 MOA of internal elevation. I never want to exceed about 40% of that. So I would run a 30. You could even run a 40 on that, and you'd still be able to 0 at 50 yards. Now keep in mind, if you're going to shoot exclusively at 50 yards with that setup, more often than not, you are at the extreme end of the travel of that scope, so you're not going to get the best clarity. If you dial this all the way up to its potential, all the way down to its potential, a lot of times you're not seeing as clear image as if you were in the meat and potatoes of that. So consider that, you know, those kind of things, be realistic. All right, so let's talk some other stuff. Common stuff I see guys kind of upgrading or asking me about are extractors. Now, recently I've been running the Talon extractors. I'm just giving these a go. I actually have to replace this little clip. This is a factory clip. This thing is old as dirt. Just waiting on a new one. So I've even had a couple like iffy moments where I didn't get like good ejection out of this because this clip is kind of worn out. But you know, I would say if you don't have issues, don't upgrade it. You know, a lot of people do it because they need to extract a live round, and a lot of times when you upgrade to a match style chamber barrel, you can't extract a live on the factory extractors. Now these Talon extractors will do it. I did try the Valkortsen extractors. Not even sure they're selling those anymore, but I didn't have any good luck with them, really. Just trying to be honest with you guys. Not knocking those guys at all. They make some good stuff, but I think the 457 extractors from Valkortsen were a miss. So my advice, stay factory. You know, you could even replace the factory or get these Talons. That would probably serve you pretty well. Now, obviously, I'm loading magazines. The factory 10-round CZ mags, if you're looking to upgrade them, you could stay cheap. Just get extensions if that's all you need. Now, of course, I've been running these L3I 13-round mags for a long time, and they're basically exclusively what I use. I do have the NDR magazine, which is a 15-round mag, but doesn't work in every single one of my chassis and configurations. These do. That's why I use them, and I've had zero complaints. But, you know, the factory 10-round mags work really well. So we're going to do a little bit more shooting. I'm going to run this KYL again at 100 yards, and we're going to talk about stocks and chassis. I'm going to do that while I'm shooting because it's really a shootability thing, and let's get into that. So when I say shootability thing, you know, that MTR stock, it's not hindering your accuracy. What it is going to hinder is the shootability of the rifle. If you're shooting NRL, see, it just did it again. I got to really replace this clip. So if you're shooting, you know, NRL or PRS or something like that, you know, you can make that work. But the chance of it working as good as a chassis is slim to none. So the chassis is not going to make anything more accurate for you, but it's going to allow you to customize it totally to you to make it fit. Yeah, see, that one didn't make it out either. So I'm having some of you guys aren't able to see it. It's pulling them out, and then it's like hitting and coming back in. And part of it may actually be this mount here. I'll have to look a little bit closer. I'll get you guys some B-roll of it. Maybe we can figure it out together. But, you know, the chassis is going to get you shootability. It's not going to get you raw accuracy. Yep, just did it again. I'm going to move this over, and we're going to shoot a mag so you guys can see. And so I can see after the fact. I don't even think I can see that one. A little bit of right to left. Oh, and it's just off right. I think that one made it. Some of them make it out, some don't. There we go. But yeah, it's a shootability thing. This is not holding you back. This is actually a really solid, this is like what I would tell people to get, you know, to shoot. I shot this in competition for a while. This is not, you know, this is not preventing you from getting accurate shot placements or having a precise rifle. Now, it's not going to balance as well. It's not going to be as heavy. It's not going to be as formidable as a chassis. So if you're going to shoot PRS or NRL 22, then yeah, if you're going to be in factory class, then, you know, do what you need to do. The MTR is probably the ticket there. But if you're going to shoot open, you need to probably go chassis. Like this gun in this chassis, I will put this against any gun. Voodoo, Rim-X, I don't care what it is, on a PRS or NRL course of fire, off props, this rifle will compete with any rifle at a national level. It's really going to be about the shooter because this thing freaking hammers. It just does. And I don't need anything. There's no lack of anything in this chassis setup, but it's going to be, there's an ant right on the end of the barrel. But it's going to be a preference thing, you know, what chassis you go with, and if you even need a chassis. Let's see. No wind. Oh, just off right. Oh, just off left. Now the quarter's playing with us. Couldn't even tell on that one. There it is. Had to get our wind call. But I'm going to move the camera over for this next magazine. We're going to take a look together. We're going to see what's going on, and you'll get to see the bolt side of this whole operation. All right, we're still going to go after this quarter. We're going to see if we can figure out, actually we'll shoot a little group. You guys will now be able to see this side of it. But if I forgot anything, you know, as far as upgrades, actually I know one thing. I get this question so much. What is this cheek riser? This is a Victor Titan cheek riser. It is not made for this. As you can see, I have it screwed in, but it works really, really well if you're willing to modify your stock. Again, this has been a great cheek riser, but it's meant for a Victor Titan stock, but it does work on the MTR. I've had this on here for years, and I've had absolutely no issues with it, but you know, I did modify this stock. I put QD cups in this. You know, I have an Arca rail. You know, I've done things to this to use it for competition because I wanted that form over function. Well, alrighty then. Camera decided to cut off on me. So we're going to be shooting a cold bore again. Let's just shoot it at the 2-inch. Okay, yep, we were high. Now we're going to shoot a group. Let's aim right there. See if we get this thing to hit something and not, yeah, right there. So hopefully we'll see what is going on. I know that clip is wore out, but I'm not sure it's just all the clip. A little bit more wind. See, that one ejected just fine. But again, if I'm missing something, let's go a little higher on magnification here. I'll get this parallax just right. I can barely see that quarter. If I'm missing something as far as an upgrade, then, you know, let me know. We'll go over it. You know, I'm getting heavy back into the CZs. I think you can see why. Oh, just off right, stupid wind. And I'm just testing this ammo. This is pretty promising. More wind. It's like I'm scared to hold the wind. Oh, that was way out there. There we go. But, I mean, in some changing conditions, to be able to shoot, you know, a 1/4-inch target, you know, repeatedly, missed a win on a couple of those. That's going to happen. You know, that's me. But the platform is very capable, and I'm seeing some targets on the right there we have not shot yet. We're going to go back, run one more magazine in case I think of any other mods. But, you know, look, like I said, guys, I've been shooting this platform for 4 or 5 years. I've been up and down the mods list. You know, the biggest bang for your buck, just from an accuracy standpoint, it's going to be the barrel. Get a quality barrel, match grade barrel. You know, pick who your favorite is, but know that you are paying, think about it like this, tax brackets, right? There are cheap barrels that are going to have a window this big, and the bad ones are going to be bad down here. The good ones are going to be up here. Maybe you spend $200 more on a barrel. Now you get up to a little jet. All of a sudden that window, that tax bracket shifts, right? The other tax bracket still is here. So it's entirely possible to spend a little bit more and get a better barrel that may be on the very low end of the quality of that barrel. But statistically, you're going to be largely above that. So there's no like one barrel, there's no blank, because these blanks are coming out, they're not all made equal. You know, so you really just can't, there's like no one barrel, production barrel, that you can just buy and say, this is unanimously going to be better than this other barrel because of its price point. You got to keep that in mind, have realistic expectations. Most importantly, test the crap out of ammo. If you got a factory gun, factory barrel, you don't want to spend that money, well, you need to test ammo. If you're not testing ammo, you are wasting your time looking for something in a better barrel. Now, you can spend more money. It is typical of better quality barrels that are hand lapped and things to shoot a wider variety of ammo better. That is true. But you can also shoot less expensive barrels and find that ammunition that it really loves and have really great results. And we are shooting a hair high. But dude, we are laying down a freaking group on that thing. Hair high. A little bit of wind. On the move. Didn't stand a chance. Still don't stand a chance. Still don't stand a chance. And these are smaller than NRL targets. So yeah, I would say at the end of the day, have realistic expectations. Know that you can put a ton of money, you can build this rifle. And trust me when I say that I could have this stock with a CZ action, and maybe we'll do this if you guys want to see this. I can put together a combo and something like this with a factory trigger that's going to shoot really, really good. But this rifle is purpose built for PRS and NRL. I know there's a lot of you guys that don't get that. A lot of you guys look at this and say, whoa, what's CZ left on it? You're looking at it the wrong way. This is a CZ chassis. This is one of the most buildable, small frame, 22 long rifles in the world right now for a reason. The action is great. There's tons of aftermarket support, and I love to tinker. I don't like to leave things alone. So yeah, there is a place where you put a factory-ish gun in this, hang this on your wall, pass this down. That's great. If you're into that, that's totally fine. If you want to build something different, and although there are a ton of CZs, like I said, different from the crowd. A lot of guys shooting very competitively are going to be shooting Remexes, Voodoos, those kind of rifles. This will compete with that, and you can build this. Now, of course, it's going to be about the same money. It's a little less because the action's a little less, but you're paying the same amount for the chassis. You're basically paying the same amount to get a custom barrel done, same scope. All those things are equal, so at the end of the day, you're not really saving money, but you're doing something different. And that's what I've always loved about the CZ, is that it is so transformable. It's not one thing. It's not just like this high dollar, high end precision PRS rifle. It can be many things. I could put a different barrel on this with 2 grub screws. That seems to work really well. I could put it back in the stock, have a very traditional gun. I could do anything with this rifle, and that's what draws us to it, I think. And again, if I missed anything, let me know. I tried to get the meat and potatoes of what you guys asked me about for upgrading this. And again, you know, biggest bang for the buck, barrel. Put a barrel on it. A barrel is going to make this rifle more accurate. The trigger, the stock, that's going to make you more accurate, but you can train out of this. You could have a factory trigger and an MTR with a good barrel, good ammunition, and get the same results as this, but it's going to take more effort on your part. When you come to this level, the shooting becomes effortless. Even when this is on a prop, it's going to balance. Sitting here, it's super heavy. It doesn't move, so I can move this gun. Look how much pressure and stuff I'm putting on this gun. Look at the scope camera. You see how little that's moving it? That's what I'm paying for here, stability via weight, rigidity, all these things that make this very, very easy to shoot, but it doesn't make the rifle more accurate. At the end of the day, like I said, you can have bare bone stuff with a good barrel, good ammunition, and you are going to have to put in the work, but it is entirely possible, and you're going to do it for a hell of a lot cheaper. So as always, guys, I appreciate you watching. I'm having fun with the CZ content. Please let me know what you want to see. Again, we will do a barreled action with this. You know, we'll see what we got to do. I do have a barrel along with a factory barrel. Maybe we'll do a factory barrel comparison against a similar profile CZ barrel comparison that's aftermarket. And yeah, appreciate you guys watching. Catch you on the next one.